Live from Citizen TV, this is the Monday Report with Trevor Ombija.
That's absolutely right. Thank you so much for tuning in and staying with Citizen TV on a night when we reveal damning details about the Social Health Authority courtesy of the Auditor General's report. I'll tell you all about that in just a bit. But first, to all our Muslim brothers and sisters, happy Ramadan Kareem. We hope this month brings you love, unity, and prosperity. First, our top stories tonight. The damning details. Shocker for Kenyans as Auditor General reveals that the SHA multi-billion system is neither owned nor controlled by government.
Tumeenda hosi, tumetibiwa kitu hakijulikani ni nini na tumerudi bado sisi wagonjwa.
Watoto hawaendi shuleni vizuri. Unapata watu wamelala kwa kitanda, watu 5, 6. Unashindwa ni nini kwa nyumba.
Kisii mystery disease. More cases reported in South Mugirango as government races against time to unravel their known illness. Several nursing arrow injuries, houses torched as fresh violence breaks out of alleged cattle theft.
The dumping incident at Kenya Power headquarters was completely uncouth. It was wrong. It was something not sanctioned.
2 Nairobi County officials interdicted, 3 people arrested as probe into City Hall KPLC garbage wars begin. Thank you so much for tuning in. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Yula Nzale. Tonight we begin with the shocking revelations contained in a report by the Auditor General raising queries over the technology system running the controversial healthcare scheme SHA. The Auditor General has raised the red flag of a shadowy account run by the suppliers of the system where 2.5% of SHA members' contributions is remitted on either daily or weekly basis without Kenya's approval. The audit report also highlights violation of the Public Procurement and Assets Disposal Act by procuring the system through specially permitted procurement procedure to single source the service provider instead of competitive bidding. Ayub Abdikadir begins our broadcast tonight with a breakdown of the Auditor General's bombshell on the workings of the troubled SHA.
Dr. Nancy Gathungu's audit report highlights glaring inconsistencies in the procurement of the healthcare information and technology digitization system used to run the Social Health Authority at the Ministry of Health at a cost of 104.8 billion Kenya shillings. The Auditor General revealing glaring inconsistencies in the tender paperwork, contract agreements and financial proposal. The auditor lifting the lid on how procurement law was violated with no inclusion of procurement plan nor a medium-term budgetary expenditure framework before the procuring of the system. The report details how the management breached the law by using uncompetitive procurement procedure in single sourcing a service provider of the digital system, violating Article 227 of the Constitution, which requires fairness, transparency, competitive and cost-effectiveness. Dr. Gathungu also discloses the contract entered into did not provide the scope of the work. The number of health facilities where the technology system was to be installed was never disclosed. Despite a cost price of 7 billion Kenya shillings for training, there is no explanation to show for the number of healthcare workers to be trained on the system and the mode of training to arrive at the cost. According to Dr. Gathungu, the management was in clear breach of the law. The report also exposes a lack of payment arrangement agreement. According to the financial proposal, the consortium proposed a funding model where 2.5% of member contribution from the Social Health Authority, 5% of claims from health facilities, and 1.5% were to be used to pay for the service. The 1.5% is to come from track and trace solution. The Auditor General states that the remittances would yield 111 billion Kenya shillings in 10 years, and further adds that the money is transferred to an escrow account daily at a frequency of not less than 1 week.
It's a loan that has to be serviced by the national government.
Her position was also corroborated by the Controller of Budget when she appeared before the National Assembly's delegated legislation, saying that the Housing Fund and the Social Health Authority contributions are not deposited in the Consolidated Fund services.
Then there was the question from Mheshimiwa Kuria there on the Housing Fund. Now, I need to bring out the fact here that there is a lot of money that does not pass through the COB. And the Housing Fund, the SHIF, like you have seen, the Railway Development Fund, the Petroleum Levy, all these funds are operated outside the Consolidated Fund and therefore not part of what I approve.
An examination of the Auditor General's report also reveals unfavorable contract clauses where the State Department of Health is prohibited from developing another system or a product with similar functionalities. The contract, in part stating that the procurement entity nor the government agencies are authorized to access the system in order to build a similar product. Dr. Gadungo's report also points out non-compliance with 1/3 rule of basic salary, in contrast to the Employment Act. The report also points out non-compliance by the Ministry of Health with staffing of persons with disability. Receipts and payments by the Ministry of Health showing compensation of employees amounting to 8.3 billion Kenya shillings. However, an analysis of the master roll revealed that the State Department of Health has 1,394 staff, out of which only 32 are persons with disability. The revelations by the Auditor General come a day after President William Ruto broke his silence over the challenges facing his administration's healthcare program, striking an assuring tone in the midst of an exponential growth in out-of-pocket expenditure and public outreach due to system failures and downtime, locking out hundreds of Kenyans from medical care and attention. Ayub Abdikadir, Citizen TV.
And away from that, the government's plan to dissolve or merge state parastatals has sparked concern among those who depend on them. The closure of the Child Welfare Society of Kenya could impact 700,000 children, while Kerio Valley residents fear losing their lifeline if the Kerio Valley Development Authority, that's KVDA, is affected. Melita Oletenges has the details.
The cabinet made a decision to merge 40 government agencies and shut down 9 others. Among those affected is the Child Welfare Society, CWSK, which has now announced that 700,000 children could be severely impacted if the decision is implemented. Labour Cabinet Secretary Alfred Mutua has raised alarm, saying these children could end up back on the streets if the organisation is dismantled, and that crucial children's documents could be lost in the process. Among these children, 6,000 were rescued from dangerous environments. Appearing before the Social Protection Committee to review the 2025-2026 budget policy statement, representatives to the society revealed that the government had decided to stop the funding completely. In Kerio Valley, residents are also raising concerns about the proposed dissolution of Kerio Valley Development Agency, KVDA. They argue that the agency, which has operated for 46 years, has driven major development projects in the region, from empowering beekeepers and even the construction of dams.
Wakatusaidia kwa kututafutia soko. Sasa tunawauzia asali, tena asali mingi zaidi.
Sisi bwana President, ukikusa hiyo ni kama umekusa uhai yetu. Sasa hii tunarudi Misri. Tunarudi Misri kabisa. Wewe kama rais wetu tunaomba ya kwamba KVDA kwanza ikae.
Hebu angalia, hao watu wakikosa maji, hawa ninaonyesha, wana watoto, wana wamama, wajawazito, wanyama bado hawajaingia. Kweli wataenda wapi kama KVDA atanyimwa hiyo nafasi? Na KVDA ndio inafikia community ya Jangwani.
Despite the government insisting that no one will lose their jobs in the changes, the uncertainty surrounding the future of these agencies has left residents worried. Melita Oletenges, Citizen TV.
Now back in the city, 3 Nairobi County government drivers who illegally dumped garbage at the Kenya Power Company offices have been arrested as the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, confirmed that 11 other senior officers were under investigation over the incident. As Emmanuel Toh now reports, Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja also told the National Assembly Administration and Internal Security that 2 other Nairobi County officers have been interdicted after internal investigations showed that they gave the orders for the dumping.
After days of a back and forth between the Nairobi City County, following the Nairobi County's move to dump garbage at the KPLC offices at Stima Plaza, Nairobi, heads are finally rolling.
I, Douglas Kanja.
The Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, told the Administration and Internal Security Committee of the National Assembly of the action taken so far in relation to the incident, which has been castigated by many. Kanja stating that 3 Nairobi County officers who allegedly dumped the waste at the KPLC offices had been arrested. The 3 are Augustine Otieno Osore, Moses Getare Kanywa, and Alice Okare Achami, who have been charged with sabotage, robbery with violence, illegal waste disposal, among others.
And there should be no sacred cow. Any person who is responsible on this should be held accountable and just speed up the investigation. What happened on that day is barbaric. It's unacceptable. It is criminal, to say the least. And that should never ever happen again in our country.
The 3 officials were low-level junior officers. And we still believe that they must have received orders from somebody in the higher hierarchy of the council. In the meanwhile, we released the suspects on police bond to be appearing as we wait for final directions from the ODPP.
The security agency is also revealing that 11 other Nairobi County officers, including the County Executive Committee member for Finance Charles Kerich, Environment CEC Geoffrey Musiria, among other chief officers, are currently under investigation by the Directorate of Criminal Investigation DCI over the matter. Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja also telling the committee that the county had sent packing 2 of its top officials after internal investigations showed they gave orders for the dumping.
The dumping incident at Kenya Power Headquarters was completely uncouth. It was wrong. And so on behalf of the staff, I apologize to the people of Kenya, to the people of Nairobi.
There are these acting individuals that have been interdicted. I'm saying the buck stops with you as the governor.
They are James Sankale Lempaka, who is the Acting Assistant Director, Debt Management, and John Toiti, who is the Acting Director, Revenue Administration.
The reason the county was there was not about electricity. It was about our bills owed to the county based on development control, based on planning.
The Nairobi County government and KPLC have been engaged in a tug of war for years now over unpaid bills. Nairobi County says it owes KPLC less than 1.5 billion shillings, while the power company owes it 4.9 billion shillings, terming their actions against the county excessive. Emmanuel Toh, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
And now to Kisii County, where efforts to identify and contain a mysterious illness have intensified as more people fall sick. At least 20 more patients have been hospitalized with similar symptoms. Health Ministry officials are now investigating village water sources as a potential cause. Brenda Wanga has more.
The 3rd week of the coming of the strange disease in Kisii County sees a mother and her ailing 3-year-old child seeking some relief from the headache, fatigue, stomachache and diarrhea, the symptoms of the disease. Nearby, a young woman is in pain, her condition worsening with bloody diarrhea and a dangerously high fever. These are just a few of the influx of patients in health facilities as medics rush against time to unravel this disease.
Bisunguka katoka asubuhi, tulianza mapema kitu kama saa 1 hivi, tumepata watu wapya ambayo wamekuwa na virusi ya hii ugonjwa au tupelekea huu ugonjwa.
Others have been receiving treatment for a number of days. John Obara, age 60, says he is beginning to get better after 3 days of treatment.
Very slow. Mimi kitu ya kwanza nilikuwa naomba sana. Wakati mziba kama hii yenye imetokea, waangalifu mapema, kuangalia magonjwa kama vile imeenda. Sasa imefika mahali standard iko so high, sasa ugonjwa imezidi sasa.
But as the sick received treatment, efforts to uncover the cause and origin of the disease went a notch higher. Officers from the Ministry of Health headquarters in Nairobi teamed up with their counterparts from Kisii County in a fact-finding mission in one of the affected villages of Amarongo. The investigation zeroed in on where residents drove their drinking water, searching for clues that could unlock the mystery behind the illness.
Right now we are at the source of the water. It's a spring here, a protected spring. And so they are helping us assess the situation and respond.
Residents of the affected villages want these investigations expedited.
Ugonjwa huu umetuletea shida sana kwa sababu hata wanafunzi, watoto hawaendi shuleni vizuri. Unapata watu wamelala kwa kitanda, watu 5, 6, unashindwa ni nini kwa nyumba.
Nimekunywa hii maji, wanasema ndio chanzo cha ugonjwa na sichagonjeka. Sasa siamini kabisa ni maji. Nataka serikali iingililie ndani, ituangalie na iangalie na hii maji.
Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV.
Now, 8 people have been injured, some critically, after fresh clashes erupted along the Transmara West Bomachoge-Bobarabu border in Kisii County of alleged cattle theft. The long-standing conflict, fueled by recurring livestock disputes, saw rival groups engage in a violent confrontation using bows and arrows. As Mary Mwoki now reports, security agencies held a crisis meeting on Monday with both factions in a bid to restore peace.
Tensions reignited along the Kisii-Transmara border as rival communities clashed with bows and arrows in a fresh wave of violence over livestock theft. The Sunday confrontation left 8 people injured, 1 critically. The wounded were rushed to Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital, where they are receiving treatment for arrow wounds. 1 remains in critical condition in the ICU.
Mimi ni mmoja wao wale wenye waliathirika kwa hayo, yani furugu ya jana na juzi. Na wakati kama kuna shida imetokea mahali, viongozi ama sisi wananchi wenyewe tujaribu kusuluhisha.
4 were admitted and they are scheduled for surgeries. Luckily they are stable. All of them with arrows lodged in various parts of the body.
The long-standing conflict over cattle theft once again ignited violence along the Kisii-Transmara border as armed youths clashed in Kiango. Eyewitnesses said the violence erupted when a group allegedly crossed into a neighboring village to reclaim stolen livestock, escalating into an all-out battle with arrows flying. Cattle rustling remains a persistent trigger of bloodshed in the region. 1 person is critically injured and fighting for his life in ICU.
1 was critically injured with an arrow lodged in the neck. It took our doctors, our surgeons, around 6 hours to safely get the arrow out of the neck. The patient is currently in ICU recuperating.
Most important bit is that we maintain peace so that we can be able to get to the bottom of this. But more important also, unravel the cause for these incidents and those who are the culprits, particularly the people who are being involved in the stealing of those cattle.
GSU officers have been deployed to restore calm in the volatile Kisii-Transmara border as security chiefs from both regions held a day-long crisis meeting with locals in a bid to broker peace. Frustrated residents are demanding a lasting solution to the age-old cattle rustling conflict, while authorities warn against mob justice and urge communities to seek lawful resolutions. Mary Mwoki, Citizen TV.
Well, there's reprieve for Narok wheat farmers as the government announced that it will buy the entire 321,000 wheat bags being held by farmers. Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture Mutahi Kagwe has directed the National Cereals and Produce Board to mop up the entire stock. All farmers and aggregators have been asked to deliver their stock to NCPB effective Tuesday. The CS says they will then receive their payments within 30 days. The government has also signed a memorandum of understanding with the millers to buy wheat from farmers and pay them within 14 to 21 days.
wheat held by aggregators, wheat held by farmers, will be delivered to the National Cereals and Produce Board go-downs effective tomorrow morning. So we are presuming in that case then that in the next 2-3 days we will have cleared the entire lot of wheat in the country, because there is no reason why anybody would keep the wheat beyond a week's time, beyond 7 days, if the wheat is already in the stores.
Now, former Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waititu will remain behind bars after the High Court declined to grant him bail pending an appeal. The court ruled that he failed to present sufficient grounds for his release. Instead, the court directed that his main appeal be heard on a priority basis. Waititu had sought bail on health grounds, but the court dismissed his argument, stating that prison facilities have adequate medical services and serious cases are then referred to specialized hospitals. The court also emphasized that bail is not automatic and must be justified within an arguable appeal that has a chance of success. Additionally, the court rejected Waititu's claim that his appeal would be delayed, affirming that the case will be heard and determined within 2 months, as it has already been filed. Waititu was sentenced to 12 years in prison or a 53.3 million shillings fine after being convicted of engaging in corrupt business dealings during his tenure as governor. Talk about some politics now. ODM leader Raila Odinga says that he will continue strengthening his party as he gets more views from his supporters on his next political move. Speaking in Malindi, that's in Kilifi County today, Odinga continued to call for action from the government to reduce the cost of living and address the pressing national matters.
Uchumi wananchi wanaumia. Hali ya maisha, gharama maisha imepanda, ushuru iko juu. Kupani matibabu, mambo ya SHA bado hajafanya kazi sawa sawa. Lakini muhimu zaidi wamesema wanataka chama chetu cha ODM imarishwe. Na ODM iwe na nguvu kuendelea mbele. Ili wakielekea hata katika uchaguzi ambayo unakuja. Kwa hivyo wameongea mambo mengi, lakini kwa jumla wameniambia mimi ati nipatie ruhusa niendelee mbele.
Tumempa ruhusa baba aendelee nayo. Sisi kama Kilifi County na tunaunga mkono wale wengine ambao tayari ashashauriana nao kwamba aendelee, kwa sababu Kenya hii ni yetu sote pamoja, na hatuwezi kusema hata tukikaa kando ikiharibika bado tutalaumiwa tu. Kwa afadhali turekebishe tukiwa hapo ndani.
All right, on that note, let's take a quick break. On Monday Report, we're back with much more in just a bit, including... Two suspects arraigned over the murder of British national Campbell Scott as police intensify investigations.
This is me at Stanbic Private Banking. What does it feel like? It's accessing a private airport lounge. It's me having access to offshore banking opportunities. It's more than banking. It's investing skillfully. It's planning wisely. It's living joyfully. It's banking easily. It's me walking boldly into my future. Start your journey. Visit www.stanbic.co.ke. Stanbic Bank is regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya.
Join us for an unforgettable journey to the world's largest trade fair, the Canton Fair in Guangzhou, China, from 15th to 27th April. Explore thousands of products, meet global suppliers, and experience China's rich culture. Enjoy guided tours, shopping, and local experiences, all while discovering new business opportunities. Enjoy this and more in 9 nights and 10 days, starting from $2,450 per person sharing. Visit viewtravel.com or call and WhatsApp 0703 254 254. View Travel. Dream, explore, discover.
Your smile, with day.
Introducing the Smarter Bundle. Bundle imetosha. 30 GB monthly data, yani 1 GB daily. 400 minutes talk time to any network and free Airtel to Airtel. 100% rudishiwa on Airtel money transactions, bank to wallet, pay bills, and agent withdrawals. Subscribe to the Smarter Bundle today. Dial *544# or visit My Airtel app. Airtel Smarter Bundle. Browse, chat, call. Airtel Money. Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Buroti maguta, keja kwa mtaa mambo fiti. Nafungua bahasha wao nikismile, mambo ni murwa, kop imeshikia keda, biza maplot, nikasip tu. Kaniflota mboka, reti kotop, nikasip tu.
Na payslip yako unaweza pata mobile loan ya 500,000 na personal loan ya 9 million. Tembelea Cooperative Bank branch leo. Cooperative Bank, we are you. With over 70.
I had no idea that Lorena was Juan Pablo's lover. I found out when she was accused of murder.
You betrayed me. And it'll be very difficult to go on with our marriage after this.
I'm so sorry.
Boss, kwani hizi mbao zenyu zinakaa fiti aje? Sisi kwa mjengo wetu mbao zimekuliwa na mtu wa karibu zote.
Siri ni Gradometer.
Dawa hii inapatikana katika Agrovet na hardware iliyo karibu nawe popote nchini. Gradometer kutoka Kenagro Suppliers Limited.
And welcome back. So 2 men accused of murdering British businessman Campbell Scott will remain in remand for 21 days as police conclude their investigation. The suspects, Alex Mutua Githuka and Albanas Mutinda Nzioki, are under investigation for Scott's alleged murder. The court was informed that preliminary findings indicate Scott was taken to Mutua's house in Pipeline, Nairobi, where he is believed to have been killed. The prosecution further revealed that the suspects allegedly attempted to access money using Scott's credit cards in Nairobi, Voi, and Mombasa. They were arrested on March 1st along the Nairobi-Mombasa road, and authorities discovered that Mutua had already moved his belongings out of the Pipeline residence. The case will now be mentioned on the 21st of March. Ministry of Education officials were forced to break into Seneia Special School in Maralal, that's in Samburu County, to grant access to tens of stranded learners and teachers amid an ongoing ownership dispute. Our reporter Boniface Baraza has the details.
Ministry of Education officials, accompanied by the county security team, gain access to Seneia Special School in Maralal, Samburu County. Learning has been paralyzed since last Friday following an ownership dispute between the school's founder and the ministry.
Nasikia uchungu sana nikiona watoto walemavu wamefungiwa nje kwa sababu ya masomo. Wataki waingie ndani wasome. Na kuna saa mashule wanasoma na wengine kwa sababu wameona sijui ni walemavu wanafinyiliwa, sasa wapatiwi right yao.
It's so painful. Walemavu wenzetu kuumia nje, kukaa hawaingii darasa. Wanataka nini? What do they want for these children?
Documents obtained by Citizen TV reveal that the school's founder formally handed over Seneia Special School to the Ministry of Education through a letter addressed to the then County Director of Education after running the institution for several years.
So the students have not been able to access the institution. The teachers are not teaching inside because they've been locked out by this lady. So we are just here to take total control and ensure that learning is taking place in this institution.
The Ministry of Education and the county security team have guaranteed learner safety, warning that any further disruption will face the full force of the law.
Hakuna kitu inasimamisha masomo ya hapa shule. So walimu msikuwe na wasiwasi yoyote, nyinyi muendelee kusomesha watoto. Na kama kuna any issue kwa na OCPD yako hapa na the sub county SIP commander wako hapa. the security at within the premises will be catered for.
In a swift response, the founder insists her intention is to reclaim the school and resume its operations.
With the stalemate continuing to jeopardize learning for disabled children at Senea Special School, stakeholders are calling for an amicable way to resolve the matter in order learning to continue undisrupted. Bonfas Barasa, Citizen TV, Senea Special School, Samburu County.
Now, Kenya joined the world in marking International Wildlife Day with renewed calls for stronger conservation efforts to protect the country's rich biodiversity. Leading the national celebrations at the Lake Bogoria Wildlife and Tourism Cabinet Secretary Rebecca Miano emphasized that wildlife conservation is key to securing the future for generations to come. Emily Chebet has the details.
Kajiado County has long struggled with human-wildlife conflict. A number of residents suffering losses, forcing some to resort to illegal activities such as poaching, resulting in poor relationship between the community and the wild animals. But the recent years, a shift in mindset has brought hope.
Katika uhamasishaji, wananchi wameweza kuelewa kwamba wanyamapori ni rasilimali na rasilimali yao, na sio kuelewa tu, bali yale mafanikio au manufaa ambayo wanapata kwa njia mbalimbali katika hali ya ajira, katika hali ya mapato kupitia utalii.
Through active involvement of local communities in wildlife conservation, this region has seen dramatic reduction in such conflicts.
If you protect the animals will also give you profit, and that's what we want to address. So setting aside the land for Maasai community in Amboseli ecosystem, it gives them back because you have a land where tourism will come in and they will definitely pay visiting the beautiful sceneries and also wildlife.
Tunataka kuuliza compensation ambayo inachukua 10 years, haikui tena compensation, inakuwa kama madharau. Tunataka kwa mtu akipoteza maisha leo baada ikichelewa sana mwaka moja, ili kwamba watu wetu waweze kulipwa na waweze kupona na jamii ione kwamba wakati walipata shida wamefikiwa pia.
Wildlife and Tourism Cabinet Secretary Rebecca Miano, who led the national celebration of the World Wildlife Day in Baringo County, said Baringo is among the pilot counties where victims can now receive compensation within 90 days of lodging their claims.
Through initiatives such as the Kenya Wildlife Protection and Biodiversity Strategy, the National Wildlife Strategy, and innovative conservation finance mechanisms, we are systematically aligning our efforts with global best practices.
Ruko Community Conservancy in Baringo is one of the conservancies that have been lauded for their collaboration with the community. Ruko uses cameras to monitor movement of wildlife. Anytime an animal is captured by a camera having crossed the community, the residents earn points that can be withdrawn in terms of cash. Emily Chebet, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Now, Jiga infestation has long plagued rural Kenya, causing severe health and economic struggles. But hope is rising. Through treatment, support and awareness, lives are being transformed. On this National Jiga Day, we highlight a family in Dirini village in Murang'a County, once devastated by jiggers but now thriving. Their journey is proof that with intervention, communities can break free and rebuild.
These images, captured 5 years ago, reveal a homestead isolated from the community, devastated by jigger infestation, a consequence of extreme poverty that hindered proper hygiene. The parents were unable to work, and their child was left without an education, trapped in a cycle of hardship.
Zilikuwa nyingi sana, hata kwa kitanda, hata wapi zilikuwa tu. Tulikuwa na umaskini mbaya sana. Watu walikuwa hata watuongereshi.
Ilikuwa mbaya, maana hata mimi nilikuwa nimekulewa nazo. Sasa hata kutembea sana sikuwa naweza.
With intervention, the family received treatment that included soaking the affected feet in a medicated solution to ease pain and initiate healing. Restored to health, the family was able to regain stability and begin rebuilding their lives, which took a positive turn.
Maisha ikaanza hapo kubadilika. Sasa tuko bere, nyumba tumejega juu ya hiyo maziwa, juu ya hiyo makorofia, hata chakula ilikuwa shida. Sasa mnaona mahindi ni nyingi hata kwa nyumba, hata wakati huu siendagi kwa kibarua. Nafanyanga huku kwangu. Hata naandika watu wengine.
Now 14 years old, their son Joseph, who once endured severely wounded feet, has made a remarkable recovery.
Sasa niliona amebadilika wakati isiisha, hata kusoma nasoma sawa sawa. Ako grade 9 sasa.
Hadi Kenya is transforming communities, breaking the chains of jigger infestation, and empowering families to build healthier, brighter futures.
Today we are talking about the real transformation. And the real transformation and the real mean of eradication of jiggers is through eradication of poverty. If we are serious about eradicating poverty, if we are serious about eradicating jiggers, then we must empower our communities. So today you have seen a family that was very stigmatized, they were isolated, no one wanted to talk to them. Today they have visitors, they are able, that lady is a chair lady in a church, the man is able to go to work and also go to the shopping center, and also the children are able to go to school without even having to raise money for school fees. They also have said that they have employed people in this homestead to do their work.
Overcoming jigger infestation is more than just healing wounds. It's a crucial step toward economic recovery and empowerment for affected communities. Jigger infestation is more than a health issue. It traps families in a cycle of pain and poverty, robbing them of the ability to work, learn and thrive. But with treatment and empowerment, families such as these are able to break free from this cycle into healthier and more successful futures. Reporting for Citizen TV, I'm Lillian Muli in Murang'a County.
All right, such a remarkable recovery. So let's take a quick break and remind report you back with much more in just a bit.
Government remains optimistic about SACCO growth despite uncertainty following the Cusco scandal, which saw billions lost in suspected fraudulent deals.
I was just looking at my watch.
Don't get hot.
No, I'm not.
The collar.
I'm very cool.
Yeah.
I love the bench.
Are you sure it wasn't a computer glitch?
Mapema ndio best.
It's either this way or the highway.
No,
it's that simple.
It's misleading. Let me sit properly.
Jeff Koinange live every Wednesday, 9 p.m.
It's planning wisely. It's living joyfully. It's banking easily. Stanbic Bank is regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya. Karibu to Fahari Residences, an exclusive gated community designed to make you love your life. Fahari Residences comprises master-planned serviced quarter-acre plots, ideal for family living. Fahari is located along Kiganja Road, Ruiru, off exit 13 of the Thika Superhighway, close to social amenities such as schools, malls and hospitals. Purchase your plot at 9 million shillings. You can also talk to us about our financing plan with payments as low as 100,000 shillings per month. For more information, call us on 011 05 99750 or SMS Fahari to 21938 or visit our office at Fahari Residences.
Since 2012, Al Khair Foundation has provided Ramadan food packs to more than 530,000 fasting Muslims in need across Kenya.
As you fast, you get to remember those who struggle to find a basic meal to break their fast.
Donate today and make a difference.
Welcome to Boma Mabati Factory, the 2024 winner in roofing solutions. All our products come with a warranty and are KEBS certified. Be part of our many satisfied customers by visiting us to enjoy great discounts. Boma Mabati Factory, Mabati Poa, near Boma.
Roto Tanks. Roto Tanks. Built like a tank.
indulge in the moment. With every spoonful of Delamere Real Fruit Yogurt.
Time for some business news now. And the government has reaffirmed its confidence in the growth and resilience of savings and credit cooperative societies, rather known as SACCOs, despite the recent Cusco scandal that resulted in the loss of billions of shillings in member savings. The state continues to reassure stakeholders that the SACCO sector remains strong, but has emphasized the need for reforms to prevent financial mismanagement. Our reporter Dennis Otieno has the details.
Nearly 1 month since the government handed over the Cusco forensic audit report to the Inspector General of Police, the SACCO movement in Kenya remains under tighter scrutiny than ever before. Speaking during the Harambee SACCO annual delegates meeting in Nairobi, Commissioner of Cooperatives David Obonyo stated that SACCOs remain resilient even as authorities pursue those responsible for mismanaging over 12 billion shillings in the Cusco scandal.
Most of the SACCOs that have conducted their ADMs, they have been able to give a return on investment to members of averagely about 10%, which is a very good return when you compare it with what you can get elsewhere.
Is that I want to assure members that the monies which were in Cusco, they are not going to affect anybody else's return. Cusco has gone down. People have lost money, but that money, if you look at all those SACCOs which were there, they are paid a return, which they could have paid even with that money coming. We are more stronger than ever before in terms of the government support.
Kenya has 355 SACCOs serving over 14 million members and managing assets worth more than 1.5 trillion shillings. Despite their significance, the sector faces several challenges, including governance issues, liquidity constraints, and increased competition from digital financial services. To address these challenges, the government has pledged to fast-track key reforms aimed at restoring confidence and ensuring sustainability.
We don't want SACCOs to have creative accounting whereby they are bowing to the pressure from members to pay dividend that is not realistic. We want SACCOs to pay realistic dividend, what they have been able to realize out of their business.
Other stakeholders in the SACCO subsector echoed those sentiments.
We even recommended that SACCOs be allowed to make provisions of even to up to a period not exceeding 10 years so that we give them that financial cover room to make the provisions. But importantly, the message is that the future of Cusco, the future Cusco looks very strong.
The government is also pushing for enhanced regulatory mechanisms to safeguard member deposits. Strengthening the role of the SACCO's Society Regulatory Authority, SASRA, is being considered to improve oversight and ensure compliance with financial management best practices. Dennis Otieno, Citizen TV.
Now, Kenya's debt burden is set to continue causing Treasury officials sleepless nights, with the experts now projecting that the debt level could rise to more than 12 trillion shillings by the end of 2025-2026 financial year. The country will also see interest payments rise to over 1 trillion in the coming financial year, representing a quarter of the 4.2 trillion shillings budget. Jimmy Mbogo now paints a picture of the country's debt level and its impact in the coming financial year.
The latest data from the National Treasury shows that Kenya's debt as of December 2024 stood at 10.9 trillion shillings. In the debt stock, external debt accounted for 5.057 trillion, an equivalent of 46.3% of the total debt, while domestic debt accounted for 5.868 trillion shillings, an equivalent of 53.7%. A further breakdown from the Mentori Economics shows that of the external debt stock of 5.06 trillion, Kenyans owe multilateral lenders such as the International Monetary Fund, IMF, World Bank and the Africa Development Bank a total of 2.833 trillion shillings or 54.9% of the 5.06 trillion shillings external debt. A further 21.8% or 1.102 trillion shillings is owed to bilateral lenders such as China, France and UAE. However, it is the exposure to commercial creditors which stood at 1.163 trillion or 23% owed to international sovereign bonds, syndicated loans, Eurobonds and others that poses a greater risk owing to the high interest rates.
The critical issue here is we are borrowing at 8.25%. Yeah. That is costly because what does that mean is that our debt servicing pressure is not easing anytime soon unless fiscal prudence is exercised. We are likely to see more and more constrained fiscal space.
According to Chachi Lugutu, an economist from IC Group, interest payments are expected to cross the 1 trillion mark in the coming fiscal year.
As 301 billion is now the debt that we are repaying on the external debt, whereas the balance of 560 billion Kenya shillings is now the internal debt, the treasury bonds and the treasury bills. And if you look at the next financial year, we're looking at the interest payments is around 1.1 trillion from 995 billion the current financial year to 1.13 trillion in the next financial year. And the debt that is maturing is right about 940 billion.
Although the government projects revenue improvement in the coming financial year, with a budget policy statement projecting a 3 trillion shillings revenue, experts believe this is unrealistic.
When coming up with a budget, formulate a budget that is within what we can collect internally so that we don't have to keep borrowing. We offer project revenue, we expand proposed expenditure estimates, then we end up with a higher deficit.
As of the last financial year, we're at 10.58 trillion, so we're adding 800 billion this year and another 800 billion next year. So it's taking us to a base case of 12.2 trillion by end of June next year. So by the end of fiscal year 2025 and 2026. So that is what you are seeing, 12.2 trillion.
The experts are now calling on the government to not only walk the talk, but review the budget, stop undertaking of capital-intensive projects, and ensure strict compliance to Public Finance Management Act for Kenyans to get value. Jimmy Mbogo, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Now, the government is looking to attract more tourists from Germany and the broader European market as it prepares to showcase the country's tourism offerings at ITB Berlin, one of the world's largest travel trade fairs. A 45-member delegation led by the Ministry of Tourism will represent the country at the expo, set to take place from the 4th to the 6th of this month. Our reporter Wamboi Wangoi tells us more.
We've engaged us. The tourism sector here in the country has demonstrated growth over the last year. In 2024, Kenya saw a 15% increase in international tourist arrivals, welcoming nearly 2.4 million visitors, up from 2 million visitors in 2023. Tourism earnings also surged by close to 20% to 452.2 billion shillings, according to data from the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife. The government now appears to be channeling efforts into the sector, with President William Ruto just days ago personally receiving a cruise ship at the coast. In line with this, 45 stakeholders led by the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife through Kenya Tourism Board are set to travel to Germany to take part in the ITB Berlin Expo, set to begin on the 4th of March. The expo attracts over 160,000 tourism sector players every year.
The reason why we go to ITB and any other exhibition or conference is basically one, to do business, to expand.
The Kenya Tourism Board is working to complement the efforts of the private sector in making the country a preferred tourism destination.
We recognize that we put in a lot of resources to invest in those facilities, in the business that you are running. And our role as a destination marketing agency is to bring down the cost of doing business and to de-risk your investment and make your marketing budgets even lower than they are at the moment.
Players in the sector saying they are expecting to reap big from the ITB Expo.
It is our hope that we are going to seal deals, we are going to make good relationships, and we are going to bring back to more tourists to Kenya.
Germany remains a key source market, with arrivals jumping by 12% last year to over 87,000 visitors. Kenya is targeting 3 million international visitors by the end of the year. Wambui Wangui, Citizen TV.
Now, the government will prioritize revitalization of the agriculture and livestock sectors to beef up the job creation strategy as part of its economic transformation agenda. Deputy President Kithure Kindiki hosted an interministerial consultative forum on the agricultural value chains that brought together state departments of crop development, trade, investments, water and cooperatives, said that the government was making progress in establishment of the first cohort of county aggregation industrial parks, markets and export processing zones to enable farmers and livestock keepers to derive more income from their products.
Under this second pillar of value chains, revitalization of value chains, agriculture carries like almost half in terms of where do the citizens of Kenya, when they wake up, where does their daily household income come from? Somebody is either in agriculture, is a keeper of livestock, is within the fisheries and blue economy sector, or is doing certain primary sector activity like mining. If you combine the number of people directly and indirectly engaged in the sectors I have mentioned, 90% of the people of Kenya will fall in that bracket. So this pillar, therefore, of revitalizing value chains, the largest carrier of the value chains being agriculture, is at the heart of transforming Kenya, especially from the bottom-up approach.
All right, that wraps up business news. We're back in a bit with some sporting action. Don't go too far.
When it comes to roofing, quality is key. At Kidani Mabati, we offer the best, strong, durable, and built to last. Choose Kidani Prime for style, corrugated for a classic touch, Kidani Tile for elegance, or Box Profile for strength. Pay and pick in just 24 hours within Nairobi. Plus, enjoy free delivery straight to your site.
Call us on 0709 118 300.
Kidani Mabati, boresha mjengo na Kidani Mabati.
Oporeno 13 live photo maridadi, video kali na ni 4K imagine, IP69 certified, hii ndio latest design, piga picha air edit kusaidia ku refine. Take a shot and shine, take a shot and shine.
Utamu wa ugali, chapati, mahamri unapatikana ndani ya Tuten.
Ruiru Mabati Factory offers the best quality mabati at the most affordable prices. With over 10 years experience, our products have 15 years warranty and are KEBS certified. We manufacture box profile, Europe tile, Jenga tile, corrugated S profile among others in a wide variety of colors. Enjoy our free delivery in just 72 hours. To order, call us on 0111 050 700.
But I know that meat looks tender, but maybe not so much when your chest is burning. Remember what happened the last time? Hey, dude, you don't listen, man. Are you testing yourself? I tried looking out for you, bro. Hey, you see now? How's the heartburn? Look now, it's burning.
Do not hold back in any situation. Eno gets to work on the 6 symptoms of heartburn fast.
You do know you said all of that out loud, right?
If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Please can I have that and that? Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Ukiwin, beshte yako nje local shop win too. Hii ni the Cadbury Big Win-Win. Nunua any 2 participating Cadbury products. Scan QR code ama WhatsApp hi kunominate beshte yako nje local shop. Stand a chance ya kushinda share yako in cash prizes plus more. You a win for you is a win for all. T's and C's apply.
Inua Jamii is now closer, faster and easier. For all beneficiaries, Inua Jamii payments are now accessible via mobile money, ensuring quicker and more convenient transactions. It's easy. All beneficiaries need an active M-Pesa number. Just simply register today at any Safaricom shop or M-Pesa agent for only 100 shillings. Inua Jamii is a government cash transfer program supporting registered and eligible persons 70 plus, households with orphans and vulnerable children, and persons with severe disabilities, helping them lead a dignified life.
You betrayed me. And it'll be very difficult to go on with our marriage after this.
I'm so sorry. I made a mistake.
I've been thinking about the person who had the motive to kill Juan Pablo. Was Veronica his fiancée? On the night of the company's anniversary, she confronted me saying that Juan Pablo was hers and that I should leave him alone.
You can't just walk away like that. If you want to keep living at my house, you have to do your share at the company. Is that clear?
Much clearer than water, Dad.
Safaricom is turning 25 years. To celebrate this milestone, Safaricom is offering data double. Simply dial *544# or through My Safaricom app to grab your double offer now.
Time for some sporting action, and South African Benny McCarthy has been unveiled as the new coach of the national football team, the Harambee Stars. The South African has been hired on a 2-year contract paid for by the government of Kenya through the Ministry of Sports. McCarthy is coming in with 2 assistants, Vasily Monosakis and Morseb Joseph, as the goalkeeper trainer. Piala Maposa will be the performance assistant. There is no Kenyan in the technical bench of the Harambee Stars.
The names that you see and just the potential that this Kenyan national team have, and you look at other national teams, how well they're doing with half the talent that is here in Kenya. So with the right leaders in charge, with the right coaches, with the right mentality and the right mindset and the right work ethic, we can get this team to greater heights. And I heard a question earlier about the women's team might be the first team, Kenyan team, to represent the country in the World Cup. I think it will be both teams, the women and the men.
Now, Chase League champions KCB won the Marvin's Chase tournament played in Nairobi over the weekend. KCB finished top of the table thanks to winning the ladies' title and finishing second in the men's competition. KCB's Joyce Nyarwai won the ladies' category, followed by Julie Mutisia and Sasha Mongeli from Equity Chase Club. In the men's category, Gong Tong Gong of Maven Chase Club was the winner, followed by KCB's candidate Master Benjamin Magana. In the university category, Karan Ezekiel of the University of Nairobi bagged the award with 7 points, while Mushila Angel Kasiani of Strathmore University finished second. Maven's Chess Club was awarded 10,000 shillings in a trophy for the win, with KCB Chess Team named the best corporate club.
So we've tried to revamp the team. Last season we didn't have a very good league season. So we are trying to make some changes. We're also trying to boost our training regime and just building the team spirit. And we are confident that we will do much better than we did last season in the league.
Kenya will soon have more players at the Montverde Academy in the United States after several players were identified over the weekend during the Kenya Academy of Sports trials in Nairobi. 80 players, both boys and girls, were in camp for 4 days, training for 2 days and playing matches for the other 2 days. Kevin Venado, the chief scout from the Montverde Academy, was in Nairobi to watch the trials as the other coaches followed the matches via live link. The scout visited 2 other countries before coming to Kenya. His observation is that the talents are similar, but the football culture is different. Venado says a number of universities are looking for players for the upcoming season starting in August. They want to sign up talents from Kenya, but they must combine their talents with good grades.
The education part is vital. It really is. It's essential. And I think that's one of the things that's unique about Kenya is the way that they value education and the investment that they make in education for these students. And I think for us, that's what we tell some of our young men and young women when we're talking with them and try to expand on why education is important.
The Junior Golf Foundation US Kids Golf Spring Local Tour attracted 137 golfers in the second leg played at the Limuru Country Club. The boys showed up in good numbers in 9 categories of competition. The girls' 11 to 12 years category was very competitive with only 4 strokes separating the first and the fourth positions. Chloe Chiuri emerged the winner with a score of 7 over par 79. Ashley Gashora and Mudhoni Kioi tied for second position with a score of 8 over par 80, 1 shot behind the winner. Hope Oduor was not far behind as she finished third with a score of 10 over par 82, only 1 shot behind Gashora and Kioi. There was another tie in the 5th position, Ziana Koda and Ashley Muyela finishing another 1 stroke behind Oduor. The 13 to 14 years old category produced the fireworks as expected with very small margins separating the top 4 players. Amar Shah was the best in the field with a score of 3 over par 75.